Inside Gordon Ramsay's multi-million-dollar car collection. You may know Gordon Ramsay as the star of Hell's Kitchen, but what you don't know, though, is that a walk through his garage doors is like stepping into heaven. Car heaven, at least. Ferraris were his main vice in the start, but recently, things might have gotten a bit out of hand. So, join us as we travel past Hell's Kitchen and into car heaven, and see what lies inside Gordon Ramsay's multi-million-dollar car collection, including a Ferrari that only 210 units were ever produced. Number 1. Ferrari F430 GTS. Remember when we said Ferraris were Ramsay's green kryptonite? Yeah, so it only seems fair we begin with one. And the F430 GTS is a beauty fit for any collection. The F430 is a modern classic by any means, and upon its release was without a shred of doubt the finest mid-mounted V8 engine supercar the Italian automaker ever built. Well, that was a long time ago, but the F430 GTS influence stands to this day. Want to know Gordon's Ferrari backstory? Stay tuned to find out. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. Gordon's love for this classic actually didn't come from Ferraris, you know. Funny story, Gordon has always been a big fan of the popular American series PI Magnum, and since he was a teenager, he has always wanted an F430. So owning this supercar is more than just owning another Ferrari for Gordon. But besides its obvious sentimental value, the F430 GTS is quite the car. Sporting a 3.5-liter V8 engine designed by Paolo Martinelli, this bad boy is capable of giving you up to 380 horsepower and 268 pound-feet of torque. All that superpower allows this car to reach a top speed of 183 miles per hour. And it doesn't take it too long to zoom off as well, going from 0 to 60 in just 4.7 seconds. When you think of a Ferrari, you kinda always think of the color red. Well, Gordon actually had something else in mind, cause his F430 GTS comes in yellow. It was also designed to give a driver and passenger the absolute best of both worlds. How? Easy. A retractable hardtop, closed roof in the winter and open air in the summer. This beauty cost Gordon around $70,000. But soon the chef would crave something a lot more powerful. This time, however, he wouldn't even have to buy it himself. And no, it isn't the super rare Ferrari we teased earlier, so sit tight. A few more exciting cars to go. Number 2. Ferrari 550 Maranello. Here's one Ferrari that used to be passed over by collectors, the 550 Maranello. But Ramsay has been sitting pretty with this guy ever since their value skyrocketed. This supercar is yet another Ferrari that the chef isn't going to be parting with anytime soon because of its sentimental value. After being awarded his 3rd Michelin star, a monumental achievement by the way, Ramsay's wife Tana decided to gift her culinary star of a husband the Tour de France Blue 550 Maranello, another Ferrari that doesn't come in the signature red. From that moment on, this classic became Gordon's joy and pride, and you really can't blame him. Even this ultra-mean chef can appreciate a ride as fine as the 550 Maranello. At the time, car magazines praised this Ferrari as the greatest driver's car on the planet, and a jury even declared its 5.5 V12 engine as the best engine over 4 liters. Yeah, that's definitely a whole lot of accolades, and you'll be the judge of whether all that praise is worth it. The highly revered engine allows the 550 Maranello to produce over 478 horsepower and 419 pound-feet of torque. All that power takes this supercar to a top speed of 199 miles per hour, way more than the F430 GTS, and a more than decent number for its era. It would also take the 550 Maranello just 4.2 seconds to go from 0 to 60. So, what do you think? Were all those accolades worth it? Well, as a collector's item, the 550 Maranello was limited edition, with only 559 units being made. And don't even ask why they couldn't just get to 560. Fun fact about the 550 Maranello though, it is even a lot more rare than you think. How rare? Only 43 units of this guy are still available. How about that? Enough with Ferraris. Time for some variety. Number 3. Land Rover Defender 110 SVX Spectre JB24. Bet this wasn't the kind of variety you thought we'd be getting. What is a Ferrari lover doing with an off-roader? Well, for starters, this isn't just any off-roader, you know. In fact, this is one of the rarer vehicles in Ramsay's garage because this beast you're looking at was literally custom made for the James Bond film Spectre. Yeah, Ramsay definitely has a thing for Hot Wheels featured in films. While filming Spectre, in order to shoot this whole action scene set in the backdrop of snowy geography, Sam Mendes, the film's director, requested Jaguar to custom build a 4x4 just for the film. Jaguar then, in turn, went to Bowler, a car modifying company, and their partnership led to this. A 110 Defender with 37-inch tires, rally dampers, an incredible suspension, and a roll cage. Here's another fact about this bad boy. It's one of only 7 cars that survived filming, and this chef is a proud owner of one of them. Gordon keeps the 110 Defender SVX down in Cornwall to service his 3 properties there. Reportedly, he got this beauty at an auction for over $330,000. This must be the most expensive landing in the world. How about a peek under this guy's hood? Powered by a 2.2-liter V8 engine, the 110 Defender SVX produces up to 186 horsepower and a prodigious 368 pound-feet of torque. This off-roader is definitely not as fast as the rest of the cars in Ramsey's collection, only reaching a top speed of 149 miles per hour with an acceleration time of 0 to 60 in 5.1 seconds. However, what it doesn't have in speed, the 110 Defender SVX makes up for in strength and functionality. Every collection has got to have that one car. And just so you know, he's got more surprising varieties in his collection, like Number 4. BAC Mono. This is a name that probably doesn't ring any bells, and that's because unlike every other car in Ramsey's near-priceless collection, this is actually not an outright car, more of a go-kart. A go-kart quite deserving of Ramsey's garage. So far, we've learned that Gordon has a need for speed, which explains his love for Ferraris. However, he can't go breaking the sound barrier on the highway, so sometimes he'd go down to Vantage circuit to cool off from all that raising hell on Hell's Kitchen. And his weapon of choice on the circuit? This windscreenless single-seat BAC Mono that cost about $130,000. You're probably thinking that that's a whole lot of money you spend on a go-kart. But that's the thing, this isn't just your everyday go-kart. Manufactured in Liverpool, the BAC Mono weighs just 540 kilograms. It comes equipped with a 4-cylinder 2.3-liter engine capable of producing 332 horsepower. That's a whole lot of power for this little guy. And wait till you see this guy go. The BAC Mono headbutts the air up to 170 miles per hour, and it will literally zoom right off, going from 0 to 60 in just 2.7 seconds. That's faster than Ramsey's dream Ferrari F430 GTB. Still wondering why a go-kart costs that much? This single-seat track toy is a high-performance machine not intended for casual drives. But plot twist, you can actually drive this bad boy off track. They apparently are quite legal for road use, but why would anyone want to do that? Number 5. Aston Martin DB7 V12 Vantage. For a Ferrari guy like Gordon, his variety vehicles might actually be the most exciting part of his collection. Find that hard to believe? Well, maybe this Aston Martin DB7 V12 Vantage he has sitting in his garage could change your mind. This, by the way, is one of only 2 Aston Martin models he has in his collection, and he pretty much couldn't go wrong with the DB7 V12 Vantage. Over the years, there have been quite a number of models credited with saving Aston Martin, but the DB7 probably deserves the most. Arguably one of the British automaker's best-selling and most popular models, the DB7 was designed by Ian Callum, a famed automobile designer who worked for TWR, Ford, and of course, Aston Martin. Boasting never-before-seen technology when it debuted, like the traction control system and the double wishbone suspension, this instantly became one of the most loved modern British supercars. So it actually shouldn't come as a shock that Ramsey, a Brit, added this guy to his collection. This incredibly handsome car was initially released in 1994, but was given an upgrade just 5 years later following the advent of its V12 alternative. Well, the addition of the powerful V12 engine transformed the DB7 to a whole new car. Sporting a V12 engine meant this supercar could reach a top speed of 186 miles per hour, thanks to the 420 horsepower and 410 pound-feet of torque produced by the 5.9-liter block. Also, it only takes 5 seconds to accelerate from 0 to 60. For many, a true Aston Martin comes with a powerful V12 engine, which is why this model was a welcome change for the DB7 lineup. A welcome change that Gordon enjoyed for a bit before going right back to his Italian flair. And that takes us to our next car in his garage. Number 6. Ferrari F430 GTB. Yep, we're back to Ferraris. Despite owning and obviously enjoying a front-engine V12 car in the Aston Martin DB7 V12 Vantage, Gordon soon realized that mid-engine cars were his thing. So he proceeded to get himself another Ferrari, this time a F430 GTB. This sports car was designed by Pininfarina in partnership with American Frank Stevenson, who eventually went on to take charge at McLaren Automotive. The F430 GTB was like nothing the Italian automaker had done in the past. It literally took the prancing horse in a direction of functionality over aesthetics, with big intakes and outlets on both ends of the F430 GTB, an underfloor to improve aerodynamics, and a redesigned chassis. The result of this? A ride too delicious to drive. Pun intended, by the way. A true beauty of a sports car, this guy is powered by a 4.3-liter V8 engine capable of producing over 510 horsepower and 470 pound-feet of torque, allowing it to go from 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds. It will also have you absolutely soaring through the highway at a top speed of 198 miles per hour. At the time, the F430 was one of Ferrari's fastest production cars. Now, while that was definitely a long time ago, you just can't deny the model's influence on later cars. More than anything so far, we've established that Ramsey loves his Ferraris and going really fast, but the F430 also proves the chef has a taste for a pure, unrivaled driving experience, not just luxurious looks. And in case you were wondering, yes, these cars look like they were made for a racetrack because they were. The F430 is quite capable on the track, having been the official sports car for the Ferrari Challenge Race Series. Well, since we're talking about pure driving experience, it would be just wrong not to talk about this ride right here. And nope, it's not a Ferrari. Number 7. Porsche 918 Spyder. As great as Ramsey's Ferraris have been so far, there's also no denying that Porsche quite fits the theme of the chef's collection: luxurious, rare, expensive, and fast. Yet, the 918 Spyder is the only model he's got from the German automaker. Shocker, right? Well, good thing though is he really couldn't have picked a better Porsche. The 918 Spyder is one of the most collectible in his garage, as only 917 units were ever produced globally, so they aren't exactly everywhere. Quick history lesson. The 918 Spyder was also one of the first hypercars to truly harness the power of hybrid tech. Sporting a Le Mans-derived naturally aspirated 4.6-liter V8 engine, the 918 Spyder is capable of unleashing a staggering 599 horsepower at over 8,700 RPM. And like that's not already enough power, the supercar also features 2 electric motors that are capable of further boosting the power output by another 282 horsepower. So if our math is correct, and we know that it is, that's a mind-boggling total of 881 horsepower, the most powerful car in Ramsey's collection by a long shot. You just can't fault that recipe, pun intended. With all that power, bet you're itching to find out just how fast this guy goes. Well, let's find out. The 918 Spyder will go from 0 to 60 in just 2.6 seconds, another record it comfortably shatters in Ramsey's collection. It will also do a quarter mile in 9.8 seconds. This guy can also reach a top speed of 214 miles per hour, the fastest in Ramsey's garage. This blistering acceleration and top speed combined with razor-sharp handling makes the 918 a formidable track weapon. And this bad boy wasn't only shattering records in Ramsey's garage, no. Back in 2013, a 918 Spyder with an original Weissach pack became only the first street-legal car to set a time around Nürburgring of just under 7 minutes, breaking the previous by a whole 14 seconds. It really is a mystery how Ramsey just didn't get another Porsche after this. Well, this bad boy definitely has you wondering, what could possibly be our big finale this time? What could eclipse this beauty? That honor goes to Ferrari. And finally, our big finish. Number 8. LaFerrari Aperta. There aren't a lot of cars capable of making the Porsche 918 Spyder look weak, but then again, not every car is the LaFerrari Aperta. This is the guy that reigns supreme in Ramsey's collection. Only 917 units of the 918 Spyder were ever manufactured. Well, only 210 units of the LaFerrari Aperta were ever made. Yikes. The Aperta is even rarer than the highly desirable and collectible original LaFerrari. Since both versions of the hybrid supercar were released, values have climbed significantly, and honestly, there are no signs of values hitting a plateau in the meantime. In fact, you couldn't just walk into your nearest Ferrari dealership and waltz out with an Aperta. No. To get this beauty, Ramsey literally had to be invited, and let's just say his known passion for the prancing horse meant that he was front of the queue to part with a whopping $2.2 million. Yep, you heard that right. The Aperta price range suddenly makes everything else in his collection look low rent. This is one of the most beautiful looking Ferraris out there, but it's more than just the looks and exclusivity with the Aperta. Remember when we said it made the 918 Spyder look weak? How about we find out how? Under this guy's hood is a 6.3-liter V12 engine that's also backed by a dual electric motor. This allows the Aperta to absolutely roar, unleashing up to 949 horsepower and 664 pound-feet of torque. That definitely blows the 918 Spyder right out of the water. All this power propels the Aperta to a top speed of 218 miles per hour and even had Ramsey startled when he got behind the wheel. F me, it's fast. Ramsey described as he went off like a spaceship. On the acceleration side, however, the 918 Spyder still sits on the throne, with the Aperta going from 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, 0.4 seconds more than the Spyder. Now, you definitely see why the Aperta reigns supreme in Ramsey's collection. Plus, it also seems like a pretty wise investment, as resale prices have gone straight through the roof. The last of the Aperta's 210 units was sold at an auction for an eye-watering $9.98 million. Quite the car to close out the collection if you'd agree. And that, guys, brings us to the end of Ramsey's insane car collection. In the end, Ramsey's car collection isn't a mere garage of horsepower and metal. It's a deafening testament to a life lived at full throttle. So next time you hear his name, remember, it really isn't just about the heat of his stove, but the heat of his exhaust pipes too. Who knows what next might end up in his garage? But one thing's for sure, with Ramsey's appetite for the extraordinary, his next addition will be as audacious as his meals.